Hey guys, on this part of the tutorial, I'm going to go over a technique that I can't say it has a name, but if I was to give it a name, I would call it drift sliding. What that means is when you're in the air carrying your drift and you land, before you land, if let's say I'm drifting to the right and I'm moving to the left to kind of give myself like some momentum of movement in the air, that momentum does carry a little bit when you land on the ground. So for example, let's pretend that there's a booster. Let's say there's like a line of boosters on this line, okay? Just as an example, so I can give you this demonstration. So if I jump and I move to the left and I land in the middle, see? It slides you out. It does one of two things. It either kind of helps you sustain on the outside a little bit longer to build up a bigger drift, or it also slides you out slightly. So there are some maps where I actually do this trick where I am coming down and then I'm moving to the left so that way I can hit the center booster and the outside ones. The benefit of that is because it allows for a longer drift. If you were to just kind of land kind of like right in the middle and then move to the right and then hit those, I know I missed them, but even if I would have hit the middle booster, even if I would hit the middle boosters as an example and just went like this, it doesn't give you a lot of room to build a drift. All right, like you probably end up having to be stuck with landing and then drifting the other way, risking hitting the wall and things like that. It either makes you hit the wall in that circumstance, or you end up being forced to release your drift early. Okay, so it's good to take note of this, that this trick actually exists, but I've never heard of anybody give it a name. But if I had to call it anything, I would just call it drift sliding, because you're basically sliding over using the momentum that you generate moving in the air right before you land. Okay, hope that makes sense. But it's kind of an advanced trick, but there's certain circumstances where this is useful. You may end up using it at one point in the future when you become a little more advanced, but it just depends on you how far you want to go. But I'm just kind of throwing this out there since I was on the subject. Oh, one more thing. As you notice, there are boosters that are side by side. It is a good idea that when you drift, that you take a chance at drifting through two of them, okay? Because not every booster registers where it'll give you a double boost, but you can actually get a double boost on hitting two boosters that are side by side. Not every one of them not all of them do it, okay? So I don't think this one does, but there are specific maps for specific boost pads that do give you that benefit, so where you can hit two of them that are side by side, that it registers that you hit two. So just keep in mind that it is a good idea to drift through boosters, so then that way maybe you're lucky enough to actually get it to give you two, okay? You can even get up to three on certain maps where it has three of them lined up, but you have to hit it just right. I just want to throw that out there before I would forget, because I was thinking I was going to forget to mention that. Hey guys, one more thing I do want to add about drift sliding where it can be useful that I failed to mention. There might be times where your car may not be angled enough to where it'll straighten out, that when you land it's going to force straighten you out and you won't be able to resist against it, and it's not going to let you drift or engage the drift. Drift sliding does give you more of a resistance factor where you can engage the drift, because it makes you kind of slide out, so it gives more resistance. So as such, so if you're just not angled enough and you land, it's not going to let you start the drift. But if you are in that position where you don't have enough and you move to the right, it creates the resistance. It creates that resistance factor with just enough to where it'll fight against the car trying to straighten out, because the car automatically, when it lands, it tries to force straighten out in general, and drift sliding can help fight against that. Okay, I just kind of wanted to mention that, because if you're in a moment where you don't think you're angled enough that you're going to be able to start a drift when you land, then try the drift slide, and there's a good chance that if you get enough momentum, it is going to engage the drift for you. All right, I just want to throw that out there because that is a technique I do use in moments where I know I'm not angled enough, but I do want to start the drift and not do a forced drift, which is going to put me too sideways in certain moments. Okay.